I chewed that on a chip. That's in, like, you're 60 and you look good for it. I'm 45 and I bite into a chip and I chip my tooth. And now, I look like that. Not good.
You might fit in some places where you do comedy.
I can walk into any tavern in Port Adelaide and...
I'm not saying anything, no. We're delighted to announce our newest partner for Legends with Bevo. A big welcome to Ancora National. Ancora National are an incredible organisation with passionate staff that are all about giving people living with a disability a better life by helping them to find employment. They believe that everyone is deserving of living a fulfilling life with no one left behind, and they provide a range of support services to people living with a disability. To find out more, go to their website, ancoranational.com.au. It's great to have back on the show again a man that Adelaide knows very well, the man himself, Micky D, Micky Dwyer, who of course has been travelling internationally with Jim Jefferies. We'll get to that in a moment. And speaking of international, everyone knows him around the world as well. You know him from Bloke back in the day, that famous song over 20 years ago, and also doing wonderful things here in Adelaide for the Adelaide Fringe. Great to have Chris Franklin and Micky D on Comedy Legends of Bevo again.
Bevo, always a pleasure to come back here, mate.
Thanks for having us, mate.
Now, Chris, I reckon this is the third time. Last time you came in here with Lars.
That's correct.
And,
yeah.
So you're starting to be a real, friend of the show. It's almost gold class status, I think, for you, mate. And Micky, your second time. So
So do I get like a commemorative plate at my third? Because he showed me his plate that you gave him. I want a plate, Bevo.
Yeah,
we'll
work
two or
on that.
three, all right?
Yeah, I think
you don't need a plate though. You've got all your teeth. I'm missing a couple.
I'm on my way. Look at that. That one just chipped out then.
That's the ice, Mick.
Look, I'm not on the gear. You know when someone says that's never a good defence, but that
I can tell by the haircut.
That cue, it just gets me through the line faster. I mean the cue. That cue, I chewed that on a chip. That's in, like, you're 60 and you look good for it. I'm 45 and I bite into a chip and I chip my tooth. And now I look like that. Not good.
You might fit in some places where you do comedy.
I can walk into any tavern in Port Adelaide and...
I'm not saying anything, no.
This is why I'm doing the East End pub crawls and Mick's doing the West End pub crawls.
Yeah, totally understandable.
He looks right at home up there.
Without me west of the King. Just on his left-hand side.
We'll get to your shows in a minute, guys. Just want to ask you, both of you, we spoke about this off-air, and you both know Dave Hughes really well, and we saw on the weekend a bit of controversy because there was a few ladies that were talking over the top of him, and I think a lot of people agree as well. He did the right thing in arranging for these people to get kicked out of the show. Have you experienced anything like that before? We'll start with you, Frank, and what was your thoughts on the whole situation?
I don't get to play wonderful theatres like Hughesy does these days, but... and there's always people talking in my shows, but I've learned to deal with it, and I give them plenty back and generally shut them up. I'm from a bit of a rougher background than Hughesy, I guess, so my heckle responses aren't as polite as his. And the ones I use now are all the lines that I used to use to start fights before I was a comedian. So, I'm 100% behind Hughesy. What annoys me about it is they don't see stand-up as an art form. It's, just some bloke in the corner talking.
Yeah.
You wouldn't go to the opera or a theatre show, a play, and just start talking through it. You'd have 8 ushers getting you out well before the acts had to say something about it,
Yeah.
The fact that we have to bring it up before anyone will do anything about it, it's wrong.
Yeah.
Well, it speaks volumes for who Hughesy is as a person. People feeling that comfortable that they can just sit in the second row of his show and just chat to him like he's in their lounge room. This guy's a legend. He's got more runs on the board than, when you think about it, old Moonface.
Yeah.
He's been at the helm for as long as, say, Bert has, but he's that personable. People are there, and I'm partly defending the lady now, just going, oh, geez, I'll just talk to him like it's Hughesy. And I paid my money. I paid... Because he's that accessible as a human, and that's what he gives. But this lady's forgotten that she's in a room with others.
You would hope. Or she was just a rude bitch.
There's that too. But get out. Especially when the rest of the room has now voted you off the island. Out. And I felt sorry for Hughesy. Only in this instance, he's even a good athlete, the bastard. But the
Great
thing,
tennis player.
And his tan time. He runs around the tan in nearly under 14 minutes. He's a bastard, bastard athlete. There's so much. Look,
and he's invented a spacecraft that's going to get men to Mars. He does everything. Brain surgeon.
That's Elon.
Oh, Elon's not a brain surgeon.
They've got the same amount of money. But Hughesy's got this person in his audience, and they've been asked to leave, and they're not. They're digging their heels in. Then pride comes into it. You know, you've seen people get ejected before. I think it's been whipped up into a bloody frenzy, though.
And that's only because of Hughesy's profile.
Yes.
Had it been either one of us that had kicked someone out, that we wouldn't be on Channel 7 News.
Oh, I disagree with that. You're both pretty popular.
Yeah, but we're not regular TV.
We'd have to punch him, mate. We'd have to punch him to get that many inches, column inches. But, you know, that's the thing. But I'm glad it's brought to the fore, you know, just how an audience should behave.
Exactly right.
And it's caused that kind of discussion. Does Hughesy need more publicity? No, but we're talking. We're talking about how to be a better audience.
You brought up a good thing before, that their pride got involved because he started making it aware to everyone that they were being annoying.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I found, in terms of hecklers, the women are the hardest ones to shut up. I mean that respectfully. It's only because we try and shut hecklers up funnily but aggressively. You know what I mean? We're not polite in what we say.
Yeah.
And women aren't used to being spoken to by a man that way, especially a man that looks like me. So that generally makes them fire up even more because they've been spoken to that way. But yeah, I can never work out the mentality of someone who wants to pay money to go and hear someone talk and then talk through it.
100%. And it's like you said, it's people that are actually doing the right thing as well, that are listening and paying all that money, that are, you know, they're getting their show ruined by these few idiots. So. Yeah.
But you know what it's like? Can't back down now. They've accessed the lizard part of their brain because they've had the mob gang up on them, and you know the execution has gone out. No, out.
But it shows the amount of class of Dave Hughes, though, because he actually offered to refund the money to these three people as well. Like that's
he doesn't need their cash.
Yeah, true.
But you know, he's a phenomenal bloke. He's even patient with them to like. Even the tone of his voice, it was up half an octave because he was, if it was possible, to plead to this person. Come on. Yeah. We've asked you to leave. Will you just leave?
The big issue the news tried to make was this TV profile person who never swears on TV swore in this live interaction. But most TV personalities would be swearing in that live interaction.
Especially if she's being a fuckhead.
No, exactly. Let's move on anyway to the Adelaide Fringe and start with you, Mick. Big Mick Energy, how's that going?
That's great, mate. Yeah. And I'm proud to be able to say that. Usually I'll be interviewed about my shows going, you know, I'm just having a bit of a play with the audience. This year I've built something that's challenging for me to execute, but rewarding for everyone. And I still get to play around and be a dickhead, still get to, you know, weave it through the audience. But speaking of hecklers, it's just ironic that finally I've got something that I built, something that I've got, you know, things to tick off on the way to building the show and presenting it. People still want to join in with their own jokes, their own heckles. They've gone, I might turn up this year and say this to him. I'm like, not this year. I've got my own stuff for a change.
You've encouraged them to for many years.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like, because in the past of like, bring your own building bricks, we'll build it together. But now it's like, just...
So it's not as interactive this year, is that what you're saying?
Of course it is, but if I'm not hitting my marks or I get kind of distracted, I've only got 50 minutes to land the plane, Bevo.
Yeah, understandable.
And, you know, and there's enough baggage on it already. Yeah. So, but having a ball doing it, it's in the venue that I co-manage with a great team. So I've given myself a good time slot. I know the guy who programs it. So I've given everyone else a 3-year head start. Now I'm back at a prime time slot, and people are turning up, which is good.
Can I just say he's disappointed a lot of comedians this year, though.
What's that?
There's no Fat Cave. Micky D's Fat Cave was an institution here. And it was just a good catch-up for all of us from all around the world.
Oh, mate, thank you.
What's happened to that, Mickey?
I'll just put it on ice. Not ice. I'm resting it. It's just hard. People, it's been lovely how everyone's come out and gone, oh, we missed it this year, especially the artists and the fans. But yeah, just don't have the cash to pay my artists ahead of time. And just, people don't have the same amount of money they used to go, all right, one more. We'll go and see one more. Yeah. People come into town and see their headliners or, whoever they come out to see. And then, well, we've had our dinner, had a show, we better wind it in. So my show is always, let's go one more so we can go limping home at 2 a.m.
Although it did get to the stage where your show wasn't the one more, it was the one they were going in to see because they could see everyone on the Fringe there.
There's that too, so they could come in and have the one-stop shop for all your favourites.
And completely loose and unscripted for all of us that got to do it. Like there was one year, myself, Stephen K. Amos and Iman Hatchidi, who's only about that big, ended up on stage together, bouncing off each other.
So in my brain, I thought, I'm going to give people the 3 versions of Jesus.
You're so forward thinking. You always got to have a black gay Jesus.
Completely. It's what the people need.
So just very quickly, what's Big Mick Energy? That's a mouthful. What can people expect to see when they
say it again, Bevo? What is it?
Big Mick Energy. There we go.
Big Mick Energy. A lot of people think it's it's like, it's a play on words. It's front. It's all about front. If you're not going to back yourself in, I'm having a pop at tall poppy syndrome. That insidious curse us Aussies are all about, Yeah,
good one.
I've been playing a lot of American crowds in the last few years and seeing, hang on, people want to see you succeed. People want to hear you talk positively about yourself.
Yeah.
So this is pushing back against tall poppy syndrome a bit and setting myself free to a degree.
Being more positive about life and not negativity.
Hang on, not that second guess. Like, hang on, I'm going to give it everything. And it's pushing you back against. I was called everything in high school, and I nearly called everyone else everything. But I'd never call anyone this because I had it called to me. Someone called you a try-hard. And that term, it would just stop anyone in their tracks having a crack.
Yeah.
So, there's a bit of that in there. So if anyone's ever been called a try-hard or ever caught short or never, not thinking about really leaning into something, come along.
Yeah, well said. School can be so tough, and I got bullied as well. Not it's about me, but we'll talk about that another time. But well done, Mickey. That's great. I love that positivity. And
thanks, mate.
Yeah, and Frank, you've been doing some really good things here at the Fringe as well. And on weekends, you're doing a pub run. Tell us a bit more about that. How that works.
Called the bar hop. Works out well. Both of us have been professional comedians for 28 years now, and I've been an alcoholic much longer than that. So I am.
I'm only 30.
You are not. You're what, now 45.
Yeah.
We met at the Raw Comedy Final in 1998. Mickey was this young 18-year-old fresh-faced kid that had come over to represent South Australia.
With the blue mohawks?
No.
I was repressed. I wasn't my full form then.
I'd started comedy late. I was 33. So, and we became really good mates. I was there when he lost his virginity. I was there when he met his wife, Boo. Not the same night.
It was so close.
Coaching him through that, losing his virginity.
It was the snoring, and it nearly broke my rhythm. All right, we can look back at it as coaching, but it was I couldn't maintain those longer strokes.
I'm glad you really think I was asleep.
I just hope that was snoring.
I've got a video to show you later.
The bar hopping?
No, back to the bar hop. Yeah. So we nice and early in the evening. We start at 6. We're finished by 8:30. I got 100 occasionally sober at the start punters. Sometimes they've started their bar hop a bit earlier. We start at one venue. I lead them through 4 different venues around the East End. There's a comedian waiting for them at each one that does a headlining spot, international touring comedian at each one.
Brilliant.
And then at the end of it, we set them loose amongst the street performers in Rundle Street.
And you've been enjoying it?
That's great, yeah. 100 people, at least 10% of them buy me drinks through the night. So,
and they all know each other by the end because they're being dragged along by the Pied Piper himself, you know, a legend.
Yeah.
And it binds them. So from A to B, from between all these pubs, they've seen a great comic, and they get to walk with Chris to the next place and having a chat.
The mullet and the thongs, I look like Jesus leading them through the streets with all the disciples following behind me. Yeah.
That's why I picked you for that show.
right down your alley.
It's just meant to be.
Right down your alley. So, yeah. Hey, I wanted to get to your journey as well, because, Chris, for a lot of people that, you know, may not know this, and I certainly didn't until I did some research the other day. I've known you for quite a while, but I should have actually known this. But you're actually quite, you know, did it pretty tough when you were younger, and then you've gone from being actually on the streets to comedy, and now, obviously, as you mentioned before, you've been in the comedy scene for nearly 30 years, which is an amazing achievement. But yeah, it was pretty tough for you in the early years.
Yeah, I joined the Navy very early. Did about 8.5 years in the Navy. And they taught me how to drink and smoke cigarettes, and I was still a young person when I got out of there, and I wasn't a very good alcoholic back then. I ruined a few relationships and got in a bit of trouble. But through all of that, it led to me being homeless for a while. And whilst homeless, I won that Raw final that we were talking about. I was staying at I'd been tricked into doing a comedy show by someone that I'd asked for a beer or something. And then was fortunate enough to win that Raw final, and from there got management, and then the Bloke song happened, and then I had a 2-story 4-bedroom house on Magnetic Island. I think the ex-wife still got that fucking thing. Now I guess I'm a functioning alcoholic. I've learned how to get drunk and not upset people.
What a story though. That's so surreal, and you must be very proud to, you know, think where you were to where you are now as well.
People have often commented, I hate bringing this up myself, but if I see a bloke sitting on the street, I'll always, there was an English comic, they said, do you give him $5? I said, that was me 20 years ago or 30 years ago, you know. Yeah,
well done.
You got to remember where you come from, and I try and do at least one charity gig a month, one for free, just to give back to whether it's cancer or homeless or whatever.
That's amazing, mate. Well done.
We get paid pretty well for working 4 hours a week on average, so you know, we can give something back. It's easy.
Yeah, well done. And yourself, Micky, you spent last year with Jim Jefferies. Obviously, everyone knows him from the 1% Club and doing wonderful things in the comedy scene as well. How was that?
A whole new realm. Like, to see Jim do what he does in front of thousands of people, phenomenal. Like, I gigged with him back in the day in the UK on the circuit where he was ripping it up there. And then...
Did you do anything with him here before he went to the UK?
No.
Right.
No, we never crossed paths here. I just met him in the UK. So you would have gigged with him in Sydney. And...
Jim used to open for me quite a bit back in the day. And then this tour you're talking about with Mick, he did the whole national tour here, and I think you went overseas with him as well. Because I'm living in Tasmania now, Jim rang me up and said, it's going to sound weird, but would you mind opening for me on the Hobart one? I went, of course I would, mate. I'd love to.
Oh, you three together, that would have been absolute ruckus.
I was a great green room too. Afterwards, I had my running mates there. Chris, you had family. Michelle come along. And there were 6. They were hiding in plain sight. There were 6 SAS dudes just hovering around.
Jim's personal security.
Yeah. So the security detail looking after Jim's just a bloke that is inviting his mates. So it just happens that bloke was ex-SAS, and his mates like Jim Jefferies. So we were pretty much that was the safest gig to be in Australia for through September, August.
They continued the tour on. I was so jealous. Mick sent me a video. They'd done Townsville in North Queensland. I mentioned the house on Magnetic Island. They had a day off and they spent it on Magnetic Island, and they deliberately drove past my old house and videoed it and sent me the video of the house I don't live in anymore.
We've got this great rolling shot like we're on some kind of special ops, and I'm going between the bins. And then we thought, that's a bit mean. What we send that to him? That's how you know you've got a real good mate. You go, let's send him something horrible. He'll like this, and you send it, and you go, oh shit, I haven't heard from him in a couple of hours. They go, fuck, I hope he's hungover. He's hungover. He would have replied to that.
I'm looking at it, I'm laughing. I can't say what I said when I looked at it on here, but I was laughing. I went, yeah.
Well played.
Good one, boys.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you'll get him back one day. So
had a very interesting one. After that particular tour, I did the Canadian tour with Lars that I do every year.
Yeah, of course.
bars you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
We had a show just out of Edmonton where he was based on the same night that Jim Jefferies was doing a tour with Jimmy Carr. And they're playing Rogers Arena, the big ice hockey arena there, to 30,000 people. We had a sold-out show to 120 at the pub or whatever. And
2 full houses.
That's it. Yeah.
Still on the scoreboard, mate.
Absolutely.
If I hadn't mentioned the numbers, we were both sold out. So,
Yeah.
And I rang Jim up and said, if you're doing anything after the show, we're about an hour out of Edmonton, we're driving back in. And we got a text on the drive back, and him and Jimmy Carr had booked the bar at the hotel they were staying at.
Oh, all right.
And so we've wandered back there, and it's just myself, Michelle, Amos Gill, who was on that tour with them, Jimmy Carr, Jim Jefferies, and a guy that ran a local club in Edmonton, and Lars. And Ned Townsend as well, who was opening for us.
What a party.
We're just sitting there going, wow. Like I knew Jim quite well. Interesting. Jimmy Carr was ordering these $500 old fashions just because they were $500, and he wanted to see what a $500 drink tasted like. Had about 3 of them, so they must have been good. We'd had a few beers, and I offered to pay at the end. He got some finger food and stuff. And they said, we've got this, it's all right. We had a few more at our show than you did. And the bill comes out, and Jimmy Carr picks it up and gets out his Platinum Amex, unlimited credit, and goes to pay. And Jim Jefferies snatches the bill out of his hand and pulls out his Platinum Amex and says, I know more of these pricks than you do.
I wish my mates were like that.
Yeah, it was amazing. About 4 a.m, we finished up and just had this whole bar to ourselves, just sitting around. And Jimmy Carr, first time I'd ever met him, absolute encyclopedia on comedy.
Right.
Almost an autistic knowledge of who said what joke and when, and all of it. It was absolutely amazing.
Phenomenal. Huge thanks to Aussie Rules Global for being an amazing sponsor the last few years. And speaking of Aussie Rules Global, if you want to be part of something special next year on Anzac Day over there in Gallipoli, and you're over the age of 18 and you're a male or female, check this out.
The Slugs plan to play men's and women's games here at this soccer ground, the closest to the Gallipoli battlefields during the 2025 commemorations. The idea to make it spectacular, to fill this entire area with Aussie Anzac pilgrims. Vincent Marlier tours with the Southern Slugs. Footy, he says, is perfect to honour the Diggers.
They would love it, I'm sure, because it's bringing Australia over there, isn't it?
And Jim Jefferies, like obviously as I mentioned before, you see him on the 1% Club, but what's he like as a person outside of that?
Exactly the same person, I would say. He I don't think he's changed from an open mic comic to an international celebrity. He's still a down-to-earth Aussie bloke.
Great.
Yeah.
Great fun to tour with. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you love hearing, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just good because we've done the hard partying, the drinking. We're just 2 dudes eating late night food, commentating on the Olympics. It was weird. We go back and he's like, all right, it's a great hotel in Melbourne. It's like, all right, yeah, you in your room? I'm like, yeah. He goes, you want to watch the Olympics? I'm like, yeah, all right.
So you're sitting there watching the Olympics
Yeah,
and Jim
just
Jefferies.
giggling. And it's like, this is great, you know.
That's brilliant.
You were both not drinking at that time too. I don't know if you both still are, but
I'm 12 years off the piss.
12 years.
Yeah.
I did 12 years once.
In an afternoon.
Then I turned 13.
That's a phenomenal achievement.
Yeah,
Micky.
cheers, mate. Yeah.
Do you feel like it's made you more healthier as well?
Yeah, it's given me a different lease on life. I couldn't do sport again and keep drinking the way I was. I wanted to have another crack at being an athlete. So yeah, I gave that the flick and started putting some miles in. So I'm 876 consecutive run days.
Wow.
So I thought, hang on, the sobriety was simple. It's just don't do that. And then I tried something else starting October 12th, 2022. I've run every day since. So it's just like, get out there, minimum of 2K, averaging about 40, 50K a week.
We are so different people.
But we're besties, you know. We've got other stuff to talk about with each other.
I'm 60. I don't even run if the cops are chasing me.
Because they know you. They know you. The cops catch him and they go, g'day, Frangers.
Yeah, you're that
Remember-
bloke for the bloke.
Remember my first date with Michelle
Yes.
in Perth? Tell Bevo about it.
Oh, it's so kind when he promises to do something, he sticks to it. That's a good friend. And I got in first, didn't I? I was in your diary first.
Yeah.
I was running for charity. It was for cancer research. Like you said, things you care about. I ran a double marathon overnight, Kings Park, Perth. So I finished my late show, The Fat Cave. They didn't believe me. I said, I'm running a double marathon. They go, you're a funny guy. And they got the last act on, put my kit on, come out. And I said, look, this is, if you're not running with me, you're donating because I'm going now. So and Franklin ran my aid station. He stood up the top of Jacob's Ladder from midnight through to the next morning.
6 a.m., yeah.
And, but you'd forgotten that.
I'd met Michelle. She was flying to Perth to be with me that weekend, and she'd just flown in that night. I took her straight to Mickey's show. I said, I've got a surprise for you. And we just had to sit at this card table all night in the dark at Kings Park and wait for him to run past every 40 minutes or so.
You had a great view. You get to see the city.
Yeah. And the sun came up. It was great.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And it was...
Michelle stopped me from getting stabbed once. So it
was meant to be, right? It was meant to be.
Had this weird mix of cashews and... it was an energy drink thing that he'd made.
Yeah, I was fueling myself. I thought I need a high fat,
banana, cashews.
High fat, high energy, right amount of carbs, something that I could keep down, something that would be refreshing. So I blended up a mix of, I soaked cashews in salty water. So that was the milk, put a banana in there. And Franklin, he's going, what the hell is this? And so he was yelling out all these kind of fitness people up and down Jacob's Ladder. He'd yell down of a morning, Mickey, do you want some of your nut juice? And every time I'm like, that's
every
great.
40 minutes as he's coming up Jacob's
More
Ladder.
nut juice, mate. Like,
Get some nut juice in you.
Actually, I went to Chopper's show the other night and he was talking about nut juice.
Oh, there you go.
Right, it's catching on.
Yeah,
So,
he was talking about, how people have almond milk in their coffees and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
So he was calling it nut juice.
Yeah,
there
exactly.
you go.
He coined it though.
Oh, that's cool. And you're actually moving to Darwin soon, Mickey, which is a bit sad for Adelaide. But,
I'll be back.
But it's exciting though.
Mate, it sure is. My wife, Boo, she got into see, fucking 2 old pros, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
You thought. So she got into her Masters for Clinical Psychology at Charles Darwin Uni. So
congratulations to her, that's huge.
Oh, mate, she's an absolute fiend. So the way she's gone back to study, lined it up, knocked it down, it's phenomenal. Her work rate and just the completion. I can't see stuff through like that. So support her to the end. So we're end of the bloody Australia. I've got up to bloody Darwin as a team.
You've been doing gigs all around Northern Territory and everywhere else, mate.
I can't wait. You can't wait to have a backyard.
There was a time when they moved to the UK, so Darwin's not that far away. That's just down the road to South Australia.
Yeah, we thought about that. It's because we'd come back every year for the festival. So my daughter's great. She knew nothing but that. Every year we'd do the crossing until she was about 6, more or less. So it's my son, and he's had a 5-year stint in our place. So it'd be a bit of a change up for him, the 8-year-old. But we've got a backyard. Haven't had a backyard before. I love thunderstorms. He gets an extended cricket season. So heaps of cool things to look forward to.
And you said you're going to get him into footy over there as well?
Oh, totally. Yeah, mate. I want him coming back with that black magic. That's on the dance card for sure. He's a fiend on the footy field, my boy. 8-year-old. He's
named after his father.
He's named after his father, Buddy Franklin. He plays taller than I would. He's got that instinct. Doesn't second guess. Just goes for the ball. It's full lizard mode. He's like that lady in Hughesy's audience. He's entitled. He wants the ball, and there's no getting him out.
I love that.
He's like how's this? He got 6. He got 6 the other day. His first 6 as a cricketer. Yeah. Off his glove.
Nice.
6 off the glove because he's a pest.
Over the keeper?
Just by the keeper. So he's like, I have that. And he's taken 1. He's looked over long stop because you've got to have a long stop in under 10s. Has had a throw, overthrows. He's gone, there's 2. He's taken 2. He's caused a frenzy. Woodville South can't cope. This kid points come in. Looks like a clown with his head off. picks it up, has a shy. I don't even think the kid's left-handed, but he's thrown left-handed for 4. He's thrown it for 4. My son's got 6 off the glove.
6 runs of the glove.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's my boy.
That's unbelievable.
I wasn't a good
so it's a bit
batsman.
mouthy.
Bit mouthy.
Yeah,
He takes his chances. He sees an opportunity, he goes for it.
Love that.
I was like that.
Who's he play for?
He plays for anyone that would have him. He plays for the Bulldogs. He plays for just here in Adelaide.
So they've got it in the under-10s. They've got an English import.
They have, but we want to get him over the Western Eagles. So West Torrens District Cricket Club. That's who I played for growing up, and we've got my son early in there as a junior. That's the next phase.
And he'll play cricket over there in Darwin as well?
Yeah, we'll find a team for him in Darwin.
Yeah.
They'll probably play through the winter up there.
Exactly. So he'll get an extended cricket season, and then then get him playing A grade footy before he's 13.
Brilliant.
I'm going to get him. He'll get a flogging, but it's the flogging I could never give him. There's that tough playground justice. As a parent these days, you got to be a good parent, but you've still got to show them consequence.
Exactly.
So if they go in a playground, you know that swing's going to clean him up. You go, it's going to hurt, but how else is he going to learn?
Yes. Footy make him learn very, very quickly. For sure.
That's for not playing in your room last year.
There you go. And we can come to the swing many times this week if you want. We can come back for a swing tomorrow if you like.
And what's he got to look forward to over there in Darwin, Frank? You should have played over there a bit.
Yeah, tropical weather, loose pubs.
Yeah, right. Get the 8-year-old into the loose pub.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
No, you've done your fair share of gigs over there in your time, over in Darwin?
Yeah. I'm going up there again just after the Melbourne Festival.
Fantastic.
Taking Lars on a tour as we normally do.
Got a spare room.
Beautiful. You got
Come up, backyard. Oh, completely.
Yeah.
And Lars in love now as well. Fantastic.
Yeah, all loved up with Jen. One N Jen. Her name's only spelt with one N.
So one N, Jen.
Yeah.
That's great, especially if you're on a road trip.
Michelle's only got one L, so I got one L Shell and he's got one N Jen. Yeah.
It's like a Cessna, one engine.
Oh, yes. I like it.
Yeah, they got engaged since he's been here last. He didn't come to Adelaide this year. He's going to be here in time for Melbourne. I think he's doing a week in Tassie just before Melbourne starts. And I've got 2.5 days in Tassie after this ends before I go to Melbourne, so we'll catch up then and head up to Melbourne together.
Fantastic. Beautiful. And what else is happening for 2025, boys?
Well, I've got it's the same as every year. It's all mapped out. January through to late April, early May is the festival season. We've got Perth Fringe, World Adelaide Fringe, Melbourne International Comedy Festival.
Late May it goes through now.
No, it's the end of April, but at the end of each Melbourne, I take Lars on a 2-week tour somewhere in Australia.
So last year that's that first change.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Last year we went from Melbourne right up the coast to Cairns, up the east coast.
Nice.
So I got to see all that. This year we're coming back across to Adelaide and I'm taking him up the Guts, Uluru,
Fab.
Tennant
Up
Creek.
to see us in Darwin, mate.
Daily Waters, and then 4 shows at the end in Darwin,
Ripper.
So, we pick different places to take him. So that takes me to there. Through the footy season, I'm home a fair bit in Tassie. I just generally fly over and do a country Victorian footy club on a Saturday night, and that's a week's wage for me. So I get to stay home for that. Then we get to August, and Michelle and I are off to Canada again. We do that every year.
Perfect.
About a 6-week tour. Lars has made it international now because he wants to go to Oktoberfest. So we're doing shows. We're doing a shorter tour in Canada. Then we're flying across to England, doing England, Paris, and Germany. We're going to be in Munich for Oktoberfest.
Oh,
I can see you in Paris, mate.
Yeah.
Oktoberfest is unbelievable. It's just so much fun.
My French is pretty good. Eiffel Tower, Yo Play. I know heaps of words.
Savaloy in a hot dog, bun you bastards.
Would you do a remake of Bloke?
I don't know. The music world's changed, Bevo. Like it's all downloads and Spotify now. When Bloke came out, it was a CD, which was modern for me anyway, because I had records growing up. So
I had the CD.
And every second clip on YouTube is a kid doing a parody now, so it'd just fall into that mix. It wouldn't be like a professional recording,
It's changed a lot in that time, hasn't it?
So, yeah. I don't know. It's coming up on 25 years now, so.
Unbelievable.
Oh, it's just hit 25 years. February was 25 years, yeah.
Phenomenal.
Since it hit the charts.
Does it blow you away, the success of it?
Oh,
Yeah.
drunken bloke who wrote a few silly words. Yeah, can't sing or play a note, and I've been nominated for 3 arias. I caught up with Dave Gleeson from the Screaming Jets. He came on the bar hop with me the other night. I opened for them for a tour, and we became good mates. And
Jeez, think about loose.
I said on stage on Saturday night when he was in the crowd, Dave Gleeson, lead singer of the Screaming Jets, the crowd's gone wild, 100 people. Said, I only brought that up because out of the two of us, only one of us has had a #1 hit. Screaming Jets have never got to #1. #2 was the best they got, was better. And I've let him know for 25 fucking years.
Keep reminding him because he forgets.
Yeah, I know, I do. I tell him every chance I get.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And boys, I want to finish because recently I've started a new series called Backyard Legends with Bevo, and I'm sure you guys know Jared Goundry. He's doing wonderful things on the comedy scene as well.
Yeah.
Ex-military as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Great fella. And he was telling some classic stories about when he grew up and like making, some fake bombs and using his Lynx cans to blow them up and that sort of thing. And were there any stories like when you guys grew up as children in your backyards? Did you get up to any sort of similar mischief or?
Yeah.
You go first, Mick.
I nearly killed a bloke. With a slingshot, mate. Look, I was just a harmless day's fun, I'll do it as quick as I can. I grew up in a pub. There's a pub up in the Adelaide Hills, and it had a toilet block just outside by the beer garden. It's a flat toilet block roof was my cubby house, and we were just pinging cars with a Shanghai one day. Just pinging hubcaps, ping, using those sinker trace things from the fishing tackle box, just pinging cars. One bounced off the road, went through the back passenger window, back driver's window, over the passenger's shoulder and cracked the windscreen from the inside. Oh, and so we disappeared real quick. These guys, it didn't take a CSI team to work out where it was coming from. So they've gone and got the car fixed. They've driven it back, given my dad the invoice for the windscreen. I got a belting. Shanghai got thrown in the furnace. And I'm sitting in my room that afternoon. Back in the day, you get a flogging. Yeah. And I was watching Equestrian that day.
How old were you then,
I was
Mickey?
about 9.
Oh, 9.
Yeah, so couldn't make Shanghai's then. Thankfully got the Anarchist cookbook, which was an early adopter there. I was making napalm from about 11 to about 13. I loved it, man. So you just soak some styrofoam in some unleaded, and then you got sticky glue. Can't do that these days.
Well, you can. You've just given everyone the fucking recipe.
Well, but good luck doing it, because then everyone thinks you're a sympathiser. I wear a Saddam Hussein tropical shirt because it's a one of a kind. Doesn't mean I've linked myself to an organisation now.
Yeah, no, exactly. What about you, Fraser? You have some
I
rippers,
really
wouldn't
should have gone first. I can't fucking follow that. The weirdest one, I think, was smashing the television at home. And it was because my father was in the Navy, and the 2 years pre-primary school, aged 3 to 5, he was based on Manus Island, north of New Guinea, at HMAS Tarrangou. And I grew up there. I learnt Pidgin English before I learned English. At 5 years age, we got sent back to Victoria. We're in a house. First time I've seen a television or whatever. I watched the cartoons in the morning.
You'd lost your mind.
Turned the TV off. Had to go to school. Come home from school, and I thought when I turned it on, it would be exactly where I left it. But it was some weird adult show that was on then. And I just got the shits with it and smashed the screen. I couldn't get it going. Yeah, it was only about 5 or 6.
Right, there you go.
The TV started it though.
Yeah, well, why wasn't someone's been watching it. It's gone forward from where I'd left it.
I want to go back to the cartoons. You're just born in the wrong era. There wouldn't have been a problem if it was a streaming service.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, you come back.
I was ahead of my time.
What would they have done with the hammer? The hammer wouldn't have been used. This is the reverse butterfly effect. Poor bastard.
It was all black and white back then too.
Give my son a hammer and YouTube shorts, we've got a house extension.
So true.
We're talking 1969 back then. So there was no streaming services.
But plenty of backyard cricket though, hey boys.
Says a lot about Chris though, because the TVs back then were massive. So for you to break a TV at 5, it must have been a hell of a swing.
It wasn't a hammer. I don't know what it was, but I had something, maybe the big glass ashtray, because all the parents smoked around her in the lounge room then too. So
Dear God. Yeah.
Hey, boys, before we finish up, give yourselves a plug. Tell us how we can find you in 2025.
All right, just go to my Instagram. That's easy to remember. Adventure Mick. And I'm putting different stuff up there if you like running stuff. Chris doesn't like running. But you click on my funny stuff. I put in clips up there and other bizarre stuff. And all my ticket links. Adventure Mick on Instagram.
I'm very easy. I'm on MySpace. And it's only me and Tom there now, so I'm really easy to find. Bloke Franklin on Twitter. Chris Franklin on Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, that's it.
Love it. Well, Chris Franklin and Micky D, thanks so much for joining us today on Comedy Legends of Bevo.
Good on you, Bevo.
Pleasure, boys. Thanks so much. Legends.
Pleasure.